Welcome to the April 24th, 2018 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in a pledge of allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Hurd?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Yep.
Mayor Winterfield?
Here.
Let's see here. Oh, here.
There are no presentations scheduled for this evening, so we'll move right on to reports and comments for volunteers serving our community.
Oh, there's Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Joe Wells, 5 Washington Street. Reporting on the Open Space Committee. As some of you know, we had a tree planting on Saturday, and previous Saturday we had an environmental species identification where we took a look at invasive plants, and I don't know if Rich studied up on it since last time.
No, I was busy getting the rain barrels.
Okay. Anyway, we did some invasive removal. We had a lot of volunteers that day, a nice group. But on Saturday, when we planted approximately 375 trees, we had about 40, 45 people.
Wow.
A great mix of kids from the Boys and Girls Club, high school kids, the environmental group at high school, some skateboarders and so forth. Lots of young people, town volunteers, people from many of the committees, the Flood Committee, the Garden Club, Environmental Club, Open Space, and so forth. A great turnout of volunteers. And has anybody driven down Pequannock Avenue and taken a look?
There's a lot of
things. Okay, those things are, we not only planted the trees, but there's protective tubes over the trees, and then they've been staked to keep them steady. They've been watered and mulched, and we're hoping for a reasonable survival rate. We're kind of doing everything that we can, and we're going to try to maintain them through the summer to give them the best chance of survival. But it was a great turnout, and anybody that's watching the movie and you came out, I appreciate your help there. The thing is that it's really going to make a difference on Pequannock Avenue, and as I told the young high school kids, they can tell their children maybe 50, 70 years, and they're looking at a big oak tree that they were the ones that did that. So I'm very happy, and the town benefited tremendously from it. Got to switch gears, unless you had any questions on that.
Were you able to get all the trees planted that you wanted to?
Yeah, we planted, I had 400 trees. We planted 375. I intentionally have about 25 trees that I can spot in for if we see an area where the trees aren't surviving good, and it's a lot easier for me to water 25 in the watering. Turned out I did, it takes me about 4 hours to water about 100 trees.
Wow.
So it's going to be dragging around 400 feet of hose or 300 feet of hose.
It's going to be tough in September when it gets dry outside.
Well, I'm hoping by September they're going to be, in other words, my intention is to water them once or twice a week. If it rains, I can let off a little bit, but I have some help from some of the committee people, and I'm in the process of making different contraptions. I'm now looking at an IBC tank. It's called a tote. It carries 300 gallons of water, which I can put in the back of my truck, and use that, and many other thoughts about using pumps in the river and so on, but we'll try to maintain them and so on. So they'll start to look good in a year or two. So,
Joe, do you have a group of people helping you, so you're not doing this all on your own, the maintenance? And
it's easy. It's the one-shot deal. You can try and get people to get somebody to commit for the whole summer to do something. Not that easy. But I do have a couple of, fortunately on my committee, there's 3 people that are extremely knowledgeable, and the young fella from AmeriCorps that was instrumental in getting the trees for the town, he's committed to me that he would help and so forth. So I'm being positive at that point. Just want to switch gears. We had a quarterly meeting at the Morris County Board of Transportation. I'm the chairman of the Morris County Board of Transportation. And the thing that we talked about roads, and there's going to be a fair amount of paving in Pequannock on county roads and so on, and bridge repairs and so on. But the thing that specifically I'm sure would interest everybody is an update on the rail trail. And each time I update you lately, some of the updates years ago were not too great, but currently each update is more positive. We're letting our contract with the designer, which used to be called the RBA Architecture Group. It's now NV5. They changed their name. Basically all the same people. There's a young fellow from town that's been with that company for a long time, Mike Dannemiller, going back many years. Doc Shivy, myself, and Mike did a lot of planning before it even became a county project. But anyway, the thing that you will like, we're on schedule to start construction. As I said, we're next year about this time. And our construction time, I know that there was some question, how long is it going to take? The county engineer is saying a year. The transportation director is saying it might be 2, but somewhere between a year and 2 years, which I think is a good time frame. And so that's a positive thing. And I'll update you with any further, if something else is more positive, I'll let you know about it.
How about the easements that? These are people who encroached.
The encroachment, basically, it's going to be the railroad's responsibility to notify those people. And our intention is to notify them. We're not looking to be ham-fisted with town residents. We'll make them aware of it. Where there's an egregious situation, we're going to do something. If there's a place with commercial vehicle traffic, we're going to put a fence there and advise them. The on-demand leases that we have, the railroad is going to stop that lease. Where we have a right-of-way agreement, we can't change that. It's a long-term agreement. And so we're not going to kill somebody that's 5 or 6 feet into. We have a 100-foot right-of-way with a 10-foot paved path in the middle. So if there's somebody with a garden in back of their house and it's right on the edge of the property, the other factor here is surveying everybody's property to determine if they're encroaching a couple of feet on is not a good economic use of our funds. So we'll probably handle the real bad guys, but most of the people in town will not have to do too much.
So on the lower end of the trail, is that an easement going?
You talking about in town or in Wayne?
No, in town, right by the bridge there.
Okay, you're talking about the Schaefer property in particular?
Oh, I didn't want to make, yes.
Okay.
I tried to avoid that.
How could you?
All right. The Schaefer property does have an easement, a permanent easement, to cross the rail. Okay. In other words, he was given an easement to cross over the track to access property on the west side of the track. That's what his easement is. It isn't to encroach on the right-of-way, or which there are some issues there. There we feel that's a serious scenario, and we're going to take action there. And I don't know if anybody remembers Mike's Feed Farm that's by Irving Place. They have an easement, but JCP&L doesn't have an easement, and we'd have to look at that, because again, any place where there's commercial traffic, truck traffic, we want to get rid of that lease if we have one, or fence the area to separate the pedestrians and bicyclists from any kind of traffic. We have a lot of that issue in Wayne, farther south.
Well, Joe, one more thing. I've been asked about, I guess the county's going to maybe give a presentation in Pequannock to update residents.
What happens when the final design is done?
Okay.
And we've historically made presentations to the town. I'm sure you guys have seen them. When
Right, but I mean
RPA
just
was
for the
doing-
general population.
Yeah, we'll probably have a presentation right here in Town Hall.
Do you think it'll still be this spring, or will it be in the summer, next fall?
Well, what happens is, like I said, we're looking to start construction next year, May-ish
Right.
time. And as I just said, we're looking at a year to two for completion.
But I'm just curious about when the presentation would
I
be.
would like the presentation before we start the construction.
Let me get to that point.
Okay.
Well before we start construction.
Okay.
We will
Fair
have
enough.
a presentation showing the true final design. We've gone through the presentations that we did, those design, we had a trail that went on the side of the track. We moved from the left to the east and the west side. Now we're going right down the center, we're going over the bridge, not cantilevering off the side.
Right.
We're going to have a concrete path right on the steel bridge. So the final design is, quote, the final design, and that'll be presented. There's
Okay.
no sense doing it any other.
Fair enough. We just want to give people enough
Yeah.
notice so they can come out.
Oh, yeah, no, I think people will be very interested to see what it's going to be like.
Great. Thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other volunteers? Stacy?
Stacy Ann Webb. I actually have two reports as well. The first is for the First Aid Squad. EMS Week is May 20th through the 25th. So the squad is going to be celebrating on May 6th for having an open house. So what we're going to have is between 12 and 4. They're going to do equipment demonstrations. They're going to have a sign up for a...
Right here?
Yeah, at the
Okay.
building. They're going to have a sign up for a free CPR class. They're going to have gift bags with some snacks and drinks, and a lot of information about becoming a member. And the second report is for the Teen Advisory Committee. We're having our kickoff meeting on May 4th, also at the First Aid Squad. That's from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's for ages 13 through 18. There's going to be some free food and beverages, door prizes, and what I'd like to do is read the mission statement for the Teen Advisory. It states, "Our mission is to demonstrate that teens are valuable assets and care about matters that affect teens in our community. We seek to raise awareness of issues important to teens and enable their voices to be heard. We hope to accomplish this by educating the community about who we are through events, community service, surveys, forums, and to serve as a channel and resource for the benefit of all Pequannock teens." So we'd like to, get input from all the teens of Pequannock. Really, we're here to, as the adult advisors of the Teen Advisory, to listen to what they want and need and kind of structure it so that it can be then presented to the council.
Okay. Maybe the Board of Ed will let you use their digital sign.
Well, I believe it's going to be in the backpack.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Their
electronic backpack that they do.
Yeah, so, it should be a great event.
Stacy, remind me of that date again. Was it May 24th?
Just
May
the
4th for
May
the
4th.
Teen Advisory, and May 6th for the open house at the First Aid Squad.
It's May 6th. And if you don't mind, remind me also, how many people do we have on the Teen Advisory Committee now?
We have 2 adult advisors, and the kickoff meeting is so that we can introduce the committee again to the teen population, and hopefully get a chair and a vice chair.
Okay.
I guess it's a recruitment event.
Yeah.
So it's, so you're recruiting for people for that committee? Got it.
Yes.
So Melissa, I think you're too old.
Yeah, I think so.
That's one committee you can't go on.
She has a lot of relatives, a lot of relatives. So I did share it on Facebook with all the groups that I know.
Good.
Because all the adults I know teens that I don't know. So that's the point. Get it out to everybody so that they can, learn.
Well, we have
about
2 teens too on Parks and Rec, and then on the environmental, there's 2 teen advice.
Right.
So you might want to reach out to them too, because they have their own network too.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Can I just
Sure.
One more thing. Just want to remind everybody that on the 28th, which is next Saturday, we have both a rain barrel symposium and a rain. If people reserve
It's
one,
this
you'll get a rain barrel
Yes,
and
this
shown how to make it.
This Saturday, John.
Yeah, that's right.
You said next
28th.
Saturday.
You said next Saturday, but it's this Saturday.
It's coming Saturday.
Okay.
Every Saturday.
Okay.
Every Saturday we
Everything's
got
everything,
Saturday.
Joe.
Okay, this comes. Anyway, the besides the rain barrel, we're going to be giving away a lot of tree samples that you can plant in your yard and so forth. So
But the
anyway.
rain barrel is pre-registered, right?
Yeah, we may have some extra ones, but
Right.
primarily for people that pre-registered for it. And in any event, we'll show you how to do it, how to make one. If you're acquiring a rain barrel, there's a method where you can put a faucet on it and a catch basin and so forth and so on.
Joe, how many people are registered for it?
I don't know the number on the barrels. I think the amount of barrels is around 50, I believe.
50? I was told to pick up 20. 50?
Well, then you are more accurate. I will.
They seem to not know, and I said, okay, how about 20?
I think that's the registration. I think that's the Adam.
Yeah. Well, what happens is the people had to pre-register.
Right.
We may have a couple of depending on how many you get there.
Or if there's some
All the
no-shows.
barrels are at my job right now, so.
So whatever's there is going to be there. The trees, we have almost like 1,000 trees, so
Right.
that they're little saplings, so there's plenty of those. But again, if you didn't order a rain barrel, we'll demonstrate how you can fix one yourself, build your own. Okay?
Thank you. Okay. No other volunteers? The next item on the agenda is public comments. The public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone. Provide your name and address for the record. Luis?
Louise Marchese of 16 Roland Road. I'm speaking as a resident and also as a member of the Flood Advisory Committee. The town did an excellent job of picking up all those branches as a result of the storm that we had about a month or so ago. They did a terrific job. My question is this: what about all the branches that go into the river? There's actually trees that are falling into the river. Is there anything at all that we could do about that?
Unfortunately, to do anything with the river, we need a permit. We have been working on the area of the river north of the bridge, Jackson Avenue, and Joe has been working on a permit to go south, but so far we don't have that permit.
But it is being worked on.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hi.
Hi, Elaine Baccarella, Pequannock, 16 William Street. I just have a question about the vegetation that was taken off of Alexander Avenue, which looks really very nice, looks very neat from where the trees and whatever else was there, but are there plans to replant anything like that's indigenous to the area so that the invasive species don't take over? Because it looks a little barren. Has there any talk about that?
Which location?
Yeah, on Alexander.
Which location?
On
On
Alexander.
Alexander Avenue.
Yeah, there
You know,
were some
by
dead trees that
Woodland,
were
by
taken
Woodland Lake.
I
right
think
by
the shade
sidewalk.
tree, you're right, the
That would
shade
be-
tree hasn't talked about it yet. The first thing to do was to remove some of the dead trees, which they did.
Right, they did.
Right, and I think that's the next topic at the shade tree meeting will be, were we replacing trees that we removed on township property?
Okay, because it's
So-
been barren for a while now, so.
I know.
I mean, was there a plan in action once they were taking
Not at
them
the
off?
moment, there isn't. There was, first plan was to take the trees out and clean out all the dead wood before somebody got hurt and so forth. So the next part of the phase would be to take a look at planting trees, saplings in that area.
Saplings?
Well, we're not going to plant big trees.
But they're
Not real little ones.
Saplings. Saplings are like this big, seriously. You're not doing that.
Oh, they have to be bigger? This big?
And maybe even like nice shrubs that would just,
I will bring it up to the shade tree meeting.
When is the next shade tree
yeah, when
meeting?
is
They
it?
just met,
The
so.
fourth Monday of the month at 6 o'clock here.
Okay.
So
And
if
that's
you
open
want-
to the public. So-
Every meeting is open to the public,
Right.
Melissa.
Well, I just said that's open to the
Okay.
public as well.
But that hasn't been discussed yet?
No.
No, I'm sure it will get discussed at the next one.
And just so you, I mean, the removal work that was done as a safety issue. Some of those dead trees had been falling and causing, blockages along, Alexander. We've actually had the road closed a couple times.
Right.
Because trees down across it. So, we don't want them falling on people. That was done as a safety
No,
issue.
but usually you have a plan that you're going to, go right ahead and do something rather than waiting till the invasive species do take over, because they love that.
Come to the meeting.
Well, I hope that they,
I will.
I hope I don't have to come to the meeting, that's the point.
I will mention it, but sometimes it's good to hear from residents.
Okay.
I will
All right,
remind
thank
Rich.
No, you don't have to remind me. My memory's pretty good so far.
Just in case. Is there anyone else? No? There being no additional public comments, we'll continue with the agenda. Next on the agenda is public hearing on the 2018 municipal budget. Mr. Holberg.
Does everybody have a copy? There's a copy up here. Yes?
Of the budget.
Does anybody, there's a copy on the table if anybody wants to follow along.
The budget was introduced by council 4 weeks ago, and tonight was designated as the public hearing. Overall, the tax rate is up 1.75%, even though the tax levy is up only $50,000. That's a result of us losing some assessed value through tax appeals. The budget also includes a number of an increased use of fund balance to cover the several one-time expenses for codification, master plan, and a revaluation be done several years away. So the total amount of the budget increased approximately $800,000. Otherwise, it's a fairly status quo budget in terms of operations, and things that we do from year to year. We will continue to fund.
Okay.
We're heading towards being debt-free, correct? By 2019?
Correct. We continue down that path. The only real debt that we have at this point is the debt that's outstanding for our sewer projects, which is self-liquidating, so it does not calculate into our net debt. And the debt that we've authorized to fund our elevation grants, which actually on tonight's agenda, we will be...
But we get reimbursed for
But
that.
we do get reimbursed, and once we're reimbursed from FEMA, we cancel that debt and it goes away. So it's not something taxpayers have to pay off or are responsible for.
So next year, when we do the budget, we're going to be looking at the last payments against those debts that we have, and in 2020, there'll be a big zip there, right? Unless council changes something.
Unless council changes something, correct.
Okay, are there any comments from council?
I think it's a good budget.
You're all good?
That means we'll be able to spend more money on capital projects because we will not be paying money towards debt, correct?
Or lower taxes?
Or lower taxes, but
Or
most
some
likely,
combination of both.
or some combination of both, right?
Or you can take on some large, important project.
Exactly. Isn't it,
So
right?
you have to open it.
Right. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on the 2018 municipal
I'll make
budget?
that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If anyone in the audience has questions or comments on the budget, please come to the microphone, identify yourself for the record. Anyone have questions? Okay. Is there a motion to close public hearing on the 2018 municipal budget?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Hold on. Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. Next on the agenda is an introduction.
Just as a side note, we'll be scheduled to actually adopt the budget at our next meeting on May 8th.
Okay. Is everybody going to be here?
I will not.
Oh, great.
What? Did we get a sub for you or what?
Actually, the clerk has volunteered to sit in.
Okay.
Clerk
One of those
Township
volunteer kind of things.
Well, I didn't mean you. I meant, well, council going to be here to vote.
And I'll have a bunch of questions on the budget for you.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of questions.
Right, Carol, be prepared.
I know how to say, I'll get back to you as well as anybody.
All right, so that should be a good meeting. All right. Next on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2018 is an ordinance amending Chapter 189 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Pequannock and increasing the permitted duration for the use of temporary storage units on properties subject to flood elevation.
Okay, Mr. Holmberg, any comments?
No, this should include the
revised.
Yeah, it's in here.
Yeah, the
memo.
comments and revisions that were suggested by the planning board. So we're reintroducing
A new ordinance,
yeah,
right, yeah.
with those revisions.
So basically, it was really just the timeline.
So I can get 8 months.
That last change. the 8 months.
Timeline and location.
Yeah.
We have
And
it,
location.
you know, the original ordinance says that you can only place them on paved surfaces.
Right.
And that's probably not practical in a elevation scenario, so
Yep.
we eliminate that for this component as well.
Okay. Are there any comments from council on this?
Just that the planning board had talked about this for 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the last planning.
Yeah, it became the hottest topic, right?
Over, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, 8 months, whatever. So it did come down to 8 months. So,
Yeah,
and I believe that's more than reasonable time.
I think so too. If it has to be adjusted, we'll adjust it if we have to. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make
Go ahead, Ryan.
rock, paper, scissors.
No, I'm too old for that.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2018-07.
Introduce.
Introduce.
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. Next on the agenda for introduction is ordinance 2018-08. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2018-08 is a bond ordinance providing for the elevation of flood-prone homes in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $5,001,492, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $5,001,492 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Mr. Holberg, I know you're going to comment about it, but just make sure that people understand that it's not that we're outlaying that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is the 2016 FEMA grant that we received, and that amount is the amount of the total grant. So having received the grant, this ordinance provides a mechanism for the town to actually legally spend the money. It appropriates the money so that we can, make payments out of it. It also provides the authority to temporarily borrow money. $5 million is a very large grant. It's more than we would have just normal cash flow lying around, and it's reimbursement grant. We don't get it until after we spend it. So it provides the mechanism to temporarily borrow money so we can reimburse the homeowners, get the elevations done, and then we will file for reimbursement through FEMA, get the money back, and pay off whatever debt we've issued. So this is the same financing mechanism we've used in both the acquisition grants that we had in 11 and 12 and the 2015 elevation grant that we are currently going through. This is really the neatest and easiest way to make this size of a grant work in municipal finance.
So, Dave, what's the interest rate that we're paying?
Currently, our interest rate on notes is between 1.5% and 2%.
Do we get reimbursed for that, correct?
The interest, we don't.
We don't, okay.
Plus to do it in business.
Yeah, we only borrow the amount that we actually need, and because...
So we don't take all the whole $5 million
That's
in one
correct.
shot? Okay.
For instance, the last grant, which is a little over $5 million, it's about the same amount, we borrowed last year about $2 million of it.
Right.
And we'll be able to recycle that money. Depending on the sequencing of these homes with the other, I don't anticipate we'll need a lot more than that $2 million, so we'll probably just recycle the same money.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, 2% on 2.
But you got to make sure it's being managed.
Correct. So actually, we now have, $10 million worth of grants and
Right.
borrowing authority, but we will never use that much.
Right.
Correct.
Are there any comments from council?
Not directly on this ordinance, but I did want to ask, are we making any headway at all in finding another funding mechanism for the, residents that are elevating and having trouble coming with the out-of-pocket money, or we're not? Just not, right?
For these homeowners, no.
No, but maybe in the future?
Either if they qualify for some type of personal financing,
They can go do that.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
But there really is no other
I didn't know if it was ongoing research that we were trying.
Dave, did you say that there was something being introduced?
There is a legislation that would permit us to use the local assessment process, similar to what we do for sewers.
That's right. I knew there was something.
That would provide a way for us to provide financing to homeowners for the full amount. Whether they have a FEMA grant or not, we would be, if they had a FEMA grant and were a 75% reimbursement recipient, we'd be able to finance the other 25% of that with that legislation. It has been reintroduced for this legislative session, and we will try and get a resolution to kind of support that.
Absolutely.
That would be a good idea.
That would be great.
Maybe we could just send them a letter.
Yeah, did you?
No.
We should.
No.
Let's send letters. No, I was going to say we need to push.
Oh,
We need to
okay.
push for that
Excuse me.
legislation.
Oh, excuse me. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 2018-08.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. Next on the agenda for introduction is ordinance 2018-09. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2018-09 is an ordinance authorizing the grant of a utility easement over Block 3315, Lot 12, to Public Service Electric and Gas Company.
Mr. Holberg?
Yeah, you got to explain this one to me.
So our animal shelter currently does not have gas service. And we've looked at from time to time, getting gas service to it. It's been kind of expensive when we've looked at it in the past. Now that we're actually going to be switching generators at DPW, which is going to free up the DPW generator, which we intend to use for the shelter, so that during an emergency, the shelter remains operational, because we do use it as an animal shelter when we're sheltering people. So now that we're going to have both a potentially generator and we'll be able to change out the furnace, it's a little more economical. Our DPW is actually going to dig the trench, so PSA&G is not doing that. So the cost, it now makes sense to actually run gas to the shelter.
But you have to
in order to do that, anytime PSA&G is going to run a gas line on private property for more than 100 feet, they want an easement. They'll do it for up to this 100 feet or just about that.
Where's the gas coming from? Is it on Washington?
Washington Street, off the end. It's gonna, we're gonna wind it just off the parking lot around the left-hand side, along the batting cages, and then up to the shelter. It's a little over 500 feet run.
Wow.
So a residential home who's got a run of more than 100 feet, 101 feet, has to have a easement from, correct? Yes.
Typically.
Does the DPW garage have gas?
Yes. Comes off Alexander.
Would it be easier?
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Alexander
thing.
or no?
Shorter distance. We don't need the easement.
No.
Will there be?
We did look at that.
Okay.
It's a little bit shorter run because we have it to the back of the building where the generator is there. But then you're digging up, macadam, you gotta go around the salt shed, then past the batting cages. It's actually easier this way. It's just grass.
Do they have an oil tank buried or anything? Or
It's above ground.
Thank God. Okay, good. That's good. Okay. Are there any comments from council? Everybody good?
Yep.
Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2018-09.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. The next agenda item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh?
Beginning with Resolution R 2018-84, approving the designated special event permit, and that's for the North Jersey Corvette Club. 2018-85, confirming the designated memberships in the Pequannock Township Fire Department, and that is for Amanda Henning. 2018-86, authorizing the New Jersey DEP treatments work and temporary dewatering permit applications and statement of consent for the Mountain Avenue sewer extension. 2018-87, reappointing Carol Marsh Township Clerk.
Who's that?
Appreciate your support on that.
I haven't voted yet.
R 2018-88, the New Jersey Department of Transportation Division of Local Aid and Economic Development recommendation of award of a state aid project. 2018-89, awarding a contract for the Mountain Avenue reconstruction to Vector Corporation Incorporated for the contract amount of $544,711 in accordance with the bid specifications. 2018-90, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to encumber the amount of $70,432 from the Township's Open Space, Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. And R 2018-91, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the April 19th, 2018 bill list.
Are there any comments from council on the resolutions?
Yeah, I'll make a comment on 2018-85 Henning. You all recognize that name, right?
Yep.
The granddaughter of Harry Henning.
A legacy.
Company one.
Yep.
So,
And I just wanted to make...
quite exciting.
And daughter of Tom.
And daughter of Tom, right, thank you.
And the resolution 18-90, that's for the Morton Berry House?
Yes.
Okay.
Should we pull out 2018-87, a separate vote? No.
Yeah, yeah.
Please don't.
Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution 2018-84 through 91.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. There are no items listed.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol, you are now permanent.
You're stuck. You're stuck.
You can always ask me to leave.
No.
No, I don't think so. There's no items for discussion, so next on the agenda is reports and notices. Are there any comments or questions from council? If not, we'll go right to the manager's report.
We're going to have to... Similar
Excuse me. Walkable communities improvements will be completed this year along Turnpike in conjunction with paving that will be done by the county. Improved and new crosswalks will be included at several locations through the Pequannock Business District. Some crosswalk locations include pedestrian-activated warning lights, which we are in the process of ordering.
Does that mean we're going to abandon those crazy cobblestone, like, or whatever, the bricks crosswalks?
Yeah, they won't be there anymore.
Thank God.
They'll be gone.
Did we pay money for that?
Yeah, the crumbling bricks. Yeah.
Look out, didn't we pay money
We
for
did.
that?
Oh, yeah. That was a long time
We're
ago.
paying it off now. We're almost debt-free.
Yeah, that was a whole different story.
Live and learn. We received a preliminary draft of the FEMA flood rate map appeal report from Joe Scopian. Joe Golden is reviewing same. I hope to have a final report within the next 2 weeks, which I look forward to you for your review. The draft is just under 30 pages. It's a lot of technical stuff, but...
We'll need the bottom line.
Yes.
So this is a draft that's going to FEMA?
Yes.
From our
Eventually,
expert.
this will be our formal appeal to FEMA.
Right.
On both items, both the Pompton floodway and the east-west ditch floodplain.
So you'll try to summarize what we're saying, basically?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
And how long will it be after we submit that to FEMA before they respond back to us?
I have no idea.
When does that have to be submitted? Because you're not going to be here.
May, let's see.
We have to submit,
Okay.
and they can take as long as they want.
All right. So are you going to be able to tell us before?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah, you'll get the report from me.
Okay, good. All right, in English. All right, okay.
And a series of dates of events that are coming up over the next couple of months.
Okay.
I have a quick question, Dave. These rain barrels that I'm holding, the 20 of them, if I can't move them on Saturday and I have to move them on Friday, you don't want me to put them in Greenview Park, do you?
No, because they're doing them here, right?
When are we meeting?
Where are you doing them?
Here.
It says,
Because
I'm reading this wrong then, because this says Greenview Park.
No, they're going to be done
the
here. I
original
thought.
location was the Greenview. Change that?
Yeah, here.
That's what I said.
No, I think you're right.
Let's verify this, because I don't want to bring the barrels to the wrong
Okay.
place.
I will find out.
Memorial Day parade.
You can look on the flyer.
I don't know.
Or Tom Andrea, you
Friday,
know,
Saturday.
yeah.
Depends on if they're going to Greenview Park, it presents a problem.
But I think it's all here.
I
Yeah, I think it's all here.
will find out.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
pretty
ask
sure.
Ed if he'll deliver them on Saturdays.
I'm pretty sure it's here. Yeah. Okay, the next item on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
All right, just a couple of things. The Economic Development Committee meets tomorrow night here in this room at 7:30. They are getting ready to send out their business survey, which was distributed to you guys a while ago. That was the online one that I sent out a while ago, and you made comments. We've incorporated them, and I do believe the clerk's office is working on the copies, right? Did you get that? Good.
I don't know if they'll be done by tomorrow.
Right. I think what we're going to do is the committee's going to stuff the envelopes themselves. They already have all the labels, but we're going to have them printed in-house here.
Yeah, we
How
can
many
do that.
envelopes is there?
There's about 350. No more than, no more than that, really. What else? The library board met. Everybody knows the grand opening and ribbon cutting of the children's room will be 1 o'clock on May 20th. It's a Sunday, and the project did come in under budget. So that's good news. Although, I just wanted to mention, they are having to have a roof repair, which is going to cost almost $4,000. So it's something we want to talk about in the future about, that's one of the facilities we know needs a new roof, but it's been pushed off because of other
I think it's,
buildings.
we pushed that off because of the addition.
Right. Well,
And it doesn't match now, the roof.
no, that's not why. No, I have
won't
a
look good
picture
in
if you
drone
would like it.
pictures.
Anyway, no, it wasn't pushed off because of that. It was pushed off because of
We
priority.
roofs that are leaking.
Yeah. But it did have a major leak. I have a colored picture I'll send around if you want to see it. Citizen of the Year. Last year, Dave Cole and myself were on the committee to meet with the secret committee.
I haven't heard
Nobody
of it.
knows about
To
it.
do the Citizen of the Year, and I know all the applications had to be in this week. I wanted to ask, is it okay if I didn't know if the mayor wanted to change
No,
that
I'm
this year,
fine.
if
If you
you're
guys want-
okay.
no, I'm
Me and
fine
Dave
with
will
it.
stay on that committee. We
That's
talked
we've talked with the chair, and we're just trying to find out when they're going to meet, because we got to do that quick.
Yeah, because we need that for the...
And then the other one I wanted to
Memorial Day.
bring up was, we had a conversation about the Morris County Clerk's Office, and they were looking for nominations, so I think maybe if it's not too late, we should move forward with that, too.
Well, do you have a write-up that you could just, can you...
Yeah, because this is the same person I wanted to put in last year, but, yeah,
If you
okay.
can get hold of the write-up and just...
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, figured I'd walk through that.
Melissa, run that one by me. The Morris County Clerk wants to what?
The Morris County Clerk's Office had sent us all, she was soliciting for the Sissy Lauren Award, and if we as a township
They probably don't
Want
have
to
enough...
recommend someone?
want
They
to
don't have many
recommend someone,
applicants.
it's someone that has done community
So
service.
take the same person, I got it.
Yeah, community
deadline was 2
service
weeks ago, so we
for
gotta throw a name
seniors
coming
and veterans. So if everybody's in agreement, we'll move forward with trying to get that in.
Well, I think you
I'm
have to
fine
do it relatively quickly,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, each town, I guess, gets to have someone
yeah.
receive the award.
I'm fine with that, Melissa. You just grab hold of...
Get a hold of the secret meeting.
And just
or
get the same application.
Secret people in the secret meeting.
The secret handshake?
Okay.
All right, that's it, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Hurd?
Yes. Let's see. Echo Stacy's information on the Teen Advisory Committee for May 4th, 6 to 8. Other than that, I have a flood meeting on 5/10 at 7:30. That is here. And then open space on 5/14 in the building at 7 p.m. That is all I have.
I have a question about the flood. Maybe you want to mention it. You know, we have that nice app. Ryan?
Has that been approved yet?
Well, I don't know, but
I
I
guess
thought
that
when
would
we
be a
had
question
those
for
flood
Mr.
warnings, I thought that they would push out that flood warning that
It
was
has to come
announced.
from the manager's office, I believe.
Actually, I hand off to Jen, and there's unfortunately a little more to it than just being able to go online and do something. There's a third party kind of involved, so
right.
she's still working on that.
Because I thought that'd be a nice proactive way to push out that statement.
Advocate that we have.
So she's working on that, she's got that on her.
Yeah, it's
Not a priority.
super high priority because she's dealing with all the grant stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Councilman Cole?
Fair Housing will meet tomorrow evening at 7. Little League Parade was this past Saturday. I thought it was a great showing. And the fields at Martian Park look great. And just a reminder that the PBA Car Show is this Saturday, April 28th from 10 to 4 at PV Park. That's all I have.
Okay. Councilman Phelan?
Dave, is there charge to get in, or they charge the people who show the cars?
Just the people that
Yeah, it's free.
register their car.
Okay. Shade Tree met last night. We had some residents in about the cutting along the bike, the soon-to-be bike path, the North Jersey water easement. Company 2 had their meeting last Thursday, and that's basically it. And yes, the parade was fun. There was quite a few people there. The Little League Parade.
It's our dry run before Memorial Day.
Yeah, dry run before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't rain on Memorial Day.
No,
You
it's going to
never-
be
We haven't
sunny.
had good luck lately.
Yeah, no, we haven't. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. The only thing I have is, last week I attended the Morris County Council of Education Association, where they honored Tom Andrea for his volunteerism in the schools, and that was a really nice event. And also what I have is the youth mental CPR training for May 5th. There's 10 people registered, so I believe most of council is, and I know Councilman Phelan, you're not sure.
You said
Yeah, I
it was
may have to
CPR, Kathy?
Oh, no, it's not CPR. Yeah, no. It like CPR. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, yeah, it's youth for mental health.
Okay.
As of today, there was 6 spots left.
And what time does that
There
start?
was 10 when she sent me about 5 o'clock, so there must have been more after that.
I think it starts at 9, and she said it probably will end at 4. Okay. She said?
Right.
Lunch will be provided.
Right, I'll know better my schedule as we get near the end of this week. So
Okay.
if there's still a spot open, then I'll just grab it.
Well, at least they needed 10 to run it. They wanted at least 10, so they have their 10.
Do we have a location for that?
Senior House.
Senior house,
Okay.
on the carpeted side.
On the carpeted side. Ooh,
You registered.
I did.
Yeah, you registered. You're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Little League in the morning, though.
So you can't get there 9 o'clock?
No.
What time are you going to be there?
I'm looking right now. Probably 11.
We'll see if you can come.
Please?
I'll check. It's being paid
Maybe I can
for.
fill in for you for 2 hours?
He can.
I gotta work.
We look the same.
All right, that's a possibility. Okay, all right. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized. To come to the microphone, provide your name and address for the record. Okay, Nick.
Nick Stefano, 28 Greenwood Ave. So Dave, does this mean you only have one more council meeting left if you're going to miss the next one?
Something like that, yes.
I just want to say, in case, because May is a crazy, crazy month for me, I just want to thank you personally for all your hard work, especially all this crazy flood elevation stuff. I know on top of everything else with the sewers, you know, I just want to tell you the mad respect that I have for, you know, not only you, all the members of the council for really taking this very difficult step forward. But I mean, I think it's already making a difference, and it hasn't even really started yet. So I think 5-10 years from now, we're like, oh wow, that really was an impactful decision to make.
Thank you, Nick.
But anyhow, with that said, this was brought to my attention, and it's been... What's that? This is about flooding too, and I'm sure you realize it. And I know we're doing a lot of stuff with the drainage basins, but this is that right off Jacksonville, that Hickory Place, right off Ladd. I mean, that tends to flood on a regular basis. But last week, that entire street was under for 12 hours, and it's just you know, I don't know. I was going to talk to Mark about it. You know, if there's some sort, it's always been an issue.
It's always the sewer drain, right?
Right.
It's the water is not going anyplace. It's just
right. And it's always been like that, but I've never seen it.
It may not be hooked up or dumping out anyplace.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I was going to bring it up to Mark, but he was running around like a lunatic.
Yeah.
But I don't know if something's broken.
We've, you know, two problems that we deal with. You know, in such flat town, there's, you know, no elevation to create runoff. So even storm basins, now you're just, you know, taking water off the road and it sits there, and the pipes that we do have, some of them are just wet wells. But the ones that do have pipes, you know, are now essentially draining to some outlet, whether it be, you know, east to, you know, Shady Brook or one of those, or, you know, west to the east or west ditch. You've got no elevation for the water to actually flow. This has been a problem, you know, forever, because we're in a valley and it's very flat. You know, you couple that with the fact that, you know, most of our stormwater systems are now 16, 70 years old. The pipes are clogged, if not broken. You know, we have discussed between Mark and Joe and myself, you know, going through and putting in place a program to start replacing all of our stormwater elements. But that's kind of like, you know, the same thing we do with roads. You can only pave so many roads a year. So you can only replace so many storm basins a year. It's going to be a long-term project, you know, 20 or 25 years to go through and replace all of those, you know, pipe and drainage elements to make them work the way they were originally designed to. And they're still not going to be effective because there's still no slope.
Right.
Couple that with the fact that we had 3 inches of rain, you know, last weekend. That's a huge amount of rain in a very short period of time. Even on their best day, none of the facilities we have are designed to move that much water. So you are going to have water sitting in the road for several hours. It's, you know, to be able to design something for a 3-inch storm, you're now over-designing, overbuilding, and spending a lot more money than, because those things only happen, you know, once every couple of years. So, yeah,
Okay, I'll just let them know, like, I know all those, everybody that lives on that drag, and the bottom line
And
is
if
if
you
they
look
didn't
around
redo
town,
their basements,
we have those issues, throughout the community, really, everywhere. When you have that much rain, we're going to have street flooding. There's really just no way around it.
okay, all right, thanks.
Anyone else? Sandy?
Hello, Sandy LaCourte, 4 Pateri Place, Pompton Plains. I just wanted to, I'm wondering, is no news good news, or is it's quiet, too quiet, the problem, or what's going on? What happened with the resolution for the skate park and the letter? What is the status of that?
Does anybody know?
Well, I'll answer as best as I can.
Sure.
I always answer. We wanted to discuss, three of us did not want to do a resolution. We wanted to think about it. In order for us to continue to talk about it, it would have to be on the agenda. And since it's not on the agenda, we can't talk about it. So at this present moment, there's no letter.
Okay.
There's no resolution, and there's no talking about it because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
And we don't know if that was just, a forgotten thing, because I thought it was going to be on as a discussion item, but it wasn't, so.
Okay, I was just curious. Like I said, you just don't know if it's quiet, too quiet, or something else.
Dave, did Mr. talk to you about the letter, or?
We did speak about the letter, and the resolution is the way the council takes action. Despite what some comments that have been made at previous meetings, we do resolutions of support for legislation. We support grant applications. That's how council takes action, is by resolution. You vote on it. You make your position known, whether you support the action or don't support the action. So in my conversations with Bob, my comment was to him, I don't know who's going to write a letter, because as I sit here over the course of the past several months, I can't come up with a letter that represents how council feels, because you have a wide variety of opinions here. Mm-hmm. So the point of the resolution was to get to a consensus that at least 3 of you could support. And if we can't get to that point, there's no point doing a resolution.
Okay, and we shouldn't really be talking about it because it's really not on the agenda.
Okay, well, Jordan did say last time he had gone to some skate park and talked to somebody, and that guy said, you don't even need a resolution. So, you were here when he said that, right? You remember when he got up here and said that he had gone to some skate park and talked to some individual, and you don't really need a resolution. A letter would be fine. It's on the tape from the last meeting. So,
yeah, but Jordan doesn't say how we conduct business. We do it by the law. And everything we do is by resolution. I agree with Mr. Holberg. And if we're not going to do a resolution, then there's nothing to discuss.
Okay, I was just wanting an update since it wasn't on the agenda, and we had waited, or they had, not we, well, you all had courteously waited for Catherine to return, and this was going to be the meeting, supposedly it was going to be discussed, so I was just curious why it wasn't on the agenda and what the status was, so I thank you very much. And then my question for May 5th, this youth mental health event, is that open to the public, or do you have seats available? Is it a grant-funded project?
It's grant, and you register through Mary Vinas through Newbridge.
And yes, you can,
Okay.
to the public.
Okay. Okay, because it's right up my alley with what, where I work and what I do, so I would be very interested.
Yeah.
Mary Vinas, and I contact her at New Bridges?
Yep.
I can forward you the email.
Okay, that'd be
And
great.
you can register.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No? There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait, we got minutes.
Yeah.
Wait, minutes, I forgot about all those minutes we got. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on those.
I know, sorry, Carol. All right, next on the agenda is minutes for approval. February 27th, regular meeting, and then the special meetings are listed there, January 23rd through March 12th. Are there any comments on the minutes?
No.
There is one that Mr. Phelan has to abstain on, right?
Yeah, February 20th.
Correct. That was in California.
Any corrections? Anybody good?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from January 23rd, February 20th, February 22nd, February 27th, March 1st, March 5th, March 6th, and March 12th.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I abstained from February 2nd, but I am in favor of all the others.
Very good. Okay,
Very
now,
official.
Very official.
now there being no further business. Is there
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Jim, you should come.
Yes.